All right, test, test, test. One, two, three. Just so you guys know, this is a brand new microphone. I've been battling with audio stuff and getting the OBS all set up. So if the audio sounds good, please let me know in the chat. If I need to change it, also let me know. Sounds good. Also, can you guys hear the music too? The audio levels play differently for my headset versus what you guys can hear. But wanted to make sure you guys can, it's all good. Pretty good, pretty good. Yes, awesome. Well, thanks guys. So we'll get started here. We've got some very, very exciting stuff, and I hope I have a very awesome radio sounding voice for you guys today. Actually upgraded to a Shure mic, so shout out to Crypto Data and Tom Crown for helping me find a mic, as well as some of the other guys who've helped me out with all the other filters and stuff. But if you're new here, don't know what's going on, Rainbow Runner, the guy behind Rainbow Trends. We do a weekly stream at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We hang out here, do charts, questions, TA, market outlook, jokes, memes, all that stuff for about an hour, hour and a half. And then we hop in the Rainbow Trends Discord, and then we basically do an open mic session with anybody in the Discord. And a lot of the OGs share a bunch of stuff. What's up, Josh? Thank you. So we do that, and if you don't know where the link to our Discord is, check us out at our website, rainbow-trends.com. You can click at the top, join our Discord community. We did some updates recently, so shout out to Blake for getting that set up. We still got some Panda stuff we want to put here, but very, very excited, and we've updated. This is my favorite part that we've updated, is this section. We've got the new Campi Panda, which I'm about to cover, and then we've updated a bunch of our users. So if you've been added, congrats. Even though I've asked everybody for permission, so you kind of already know. Can you hear you loud and clear? Awesome X. Or Awesome X. Yeah, I just realized S can X are the same thing. But to get the disclaimer out of the way, this stream is not intended for trading purposes. What is the phrase? I try to quote Josh on this one. The stream is intended for educational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as financial advice. That's what it is. Even if you were to mistake this for financial advice, this is technically an art stream. Where we talk painting in Wales. So even if you were to mistake it for technical analysis, you're clearly wrong. And if you're curious why any of my charts look like unicorns and rainbows, we're actually trading with Rainbow Theory, and you can find out a lot on the website there. But first things first, the very, very, very big announcement. Been working for a very long time on this, and I say I've been working on it. It's really the Campi guys. We have our second sponsorship of all time for Rainbow Trends. If you guys know me, I'm not about taking sponsorships or handouts. I get stuff like this thrown at me all the time. Not stuff like this, but people trying to throw money at me to do shady promotions for random crap coins and exchanges or stuff like that. And I've only taken two to date, Trend Spider and Campi. And give me 1 second because an OG just messaged me. Yeah, we'll get that. Thanks, Stop. So back to this. I don't really take handouts. It's been like that since day one. Since like 2017, we've been offered a bunch of stuff. I don't take it. Frankly, I really, really like the Trend Spider team, and I really, really like the Campi team for a bunch of reasons. We'll go over some of it. But one of the biggest rules for Rainbow Trends and the whole Rainbow Trends crew and the Discord and everything like that has been good vibes is always my number one rule. And that's how we keep the community together, keep the community growing and rooting for each other. And it's really, really important. And one of the things that always been about Campi is, even though I was never really an NFT guy, they were always like the king of vibes. It's one of the only NFT partnerships or programs I've ever seen that's really not cringy, and like their parties actually look like they'd be awesome to go to. And frankly, Crypto ISO's been telling me about these guys forever. I started following Ice Bags and seeing the stuff he did. And then this whole project kind of evolved into stuff that like I never thought was possible. And I always just kind of rooted from them from the sidelines. But over time, some of their guys started using my tools, built more relationships with them. And then finally, it kind of made sense that we put this together. And so we're proud to announce we have our first new partnership, and they ended up making me an honorary panda, which is just awesome because I used to look at him and I used to tell ISO, I was like, man, I've looked for rainbow pandas and I've never found one. Dude, they knocked it out of the park. So shout out Jaybird, shout out said this is awesome. So I literally told him, like, if you could do Takashi but a panda with like pit vipers, like that would be what I want. And somehow they just knocked it out of the park. But anyway, so there's going to be the one honorary panda added to the list. I think it'll be number 53. But I got to make a trait for the pandas. There's going to be 15 of these. And I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry, Ice Bags. This is to date one of the funniest things I've ever seen in crypto Twitter and been one of my like top things of all time with pandas besides John Jones. We'll cover that in a second. But they asked me, it's like, hey, you know, you get to make a trait and it'll be added to they'll raffle it off through their panda system and stuff like that. And they're like, man, do you want to do something that's Rainbow Trends branded, etc. I was like, man, I want to do this for all the wrong reasons. Like, I want to see if we could do this. And if you don't know what this is, let me kill the video real quick and I'll show you the video. So Ice Bags back in the day, and I just full screened to this, which may screw up the video. Let me see. Is the video? Yeah, the video is okay. Let me check. Yeah, that actually works. So way back in the day, during the TikTok craze with the ice cream, yum yum so good, all that type of stuff. I forgot even what they called it. Kind of like the Sims characters people were doing live streaming. Ice Bags ended up doing it for fun. And this guy actually picked it up and did this video. And I just absolutely love this and wanted to make this hat and these headphones the actual trait. So let's show you this real quick, if it'll load. Awesome, it's not loading. Oh, come on. Really? Let me try to restart it real quick.
All right, now this one right here, I saw it, and I said, okay, it's a kid's trend. So the kids paying kids to make fools of themselves, I guess. And I see this guy, he's like a 45-year-old bald man sitting on the beach smoking a cigar. First thing I thought was, is there enough money for me to do this? I'm just thinking, you know, I'm older than this guy, but how much money would it take me to do this? There's a lot here. This guy's getting tips nonstop just by making a fool of himself. I mean, it's astounding. Stand by.
Ooh, yes. Yum, yum. Thank you for the ice cream. Gang, gang, gang. Slay. Yum, yum. Oh, mom. Donut. Yay. Oh, cowboy. I'm a cowboy. Ooh, yes. Yum, yum. Thank you for the ice cream. Gang, gang, gang. Slay.
So anyway, you guys get the point. Awesome thing. And that was what I chose. And they knocked it out of the park and they got it running. And likewise, there's going to be Rainbow Trends trait tied to this actual item. So there'll be 15 of these made. They're going to go out through the PP decks and get raffled off. And basically, we're going to be verifying the ownership of the people that own these. And they're going to get free Rainbow Trends Rainbow Trends subscription as long as they possess it. So there'll be a little way for us to do a back end verification, and I'll be able to hook them up for Rainbow Trends. So NFT with Rainbow Trends benefits plus good vibes. And then lastly, this is the custom panda they released for me. So awesome work. I just noticed it like yesterday or today. The actual hoodie's like panda or is like cow fur. So shout out said that was really well done. But back to kind of pandas, the other thing that like you've seen my video with like crypto ISO, like never fade pandas. We did a video dedicated to that. Like, you know, I was watching them come along and then keep doing stuff, and they started getting to MMA, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's real cool. Like, I love MMA. You guys know me. I don't watch TV at all. I watch Twitter, motocross, and UFC. And John Jones is my favorite fighter of all time, and he's also arguably the greatest fighter of all time. And one day, I open up my Twitter feed, and John Jones is dancing on my Twitter feed wearing a Panda shirt, and I was like, that's it. Like, these guys have the king of vibes. They got this down. This is insane. I've actually seen Jones live. Like, I've actually seen the greatest. He's pretty much like the greatest of all time. People could argue some stuff, but that's pretty much the baddest dude on the planet right now. Hands down. So anyway, while you guys are here, back to the charts, right? That's what our normal stuff is. But anyway, thanks for hanging out and talking us through the Panda partnership. I'm really, really excited. And anyway, but moving on, what are we doing? We're looking at Bitcoin. We're looking at Bitcoin approach the all-time high order block, get through it, come back down below it, and now we're kind of back above it again, or we're back in the mix again. Sorry, I've got some old notes here. So this is where we're at. The vertical line is the halvening, which is roughly April 17th, April 18th, give or take. It's coming up really, really soon, less than a month away. And if you're not familiar with that, you know, you've been watching like the Bitcoin flows. Right now, the miners are making 900 Bitcoin a day. As soon as we hit that halvening block, they're going to make 450 Bitcoin a day. Back when we're watching, like when BlackRock was really, really going hard like a week or two ago, they were eating like 10 times what the miners were producing daily. And that's about to get cut in half. So with typical cycles in the past, every halvening really kicked off our bull run. If I go to the BLX chart, I've got some annotations here. So actually, that's a Doppel tool we were playing with. Let me switch this up to... Nope, I may have knocked these off. Yeah, I don't have the halvenings dates anymore. Dang it. I'm going to have to redo that. My apologies. I have the bad habit of clearing everything off the chart. But either way, halvenings coming up. In the past, you guys know what halvenings are all about. It's bullish in long term, but it can also split the market. That's what they're about, right? The miners, the shock loads, everything that you can imagine, it hits here. And in the past, we've seen us move up into them and then bleed out and belly, and then we go on the hellacious bull runs of the past. That's really my only main concern. A lot of people are getting shaken out and really, really bearish on crypto Twitter, and they're getting liquidated left and right. I mean, this is the thing, guys. We attacked the market for over 12 months in this. This was 15K-ish. FTX collapse, 3 Arrows Capital collapse, ranging between $30,000 and $15,000. This was sad times. Watching Bitcoin go to 70 and pull back to 65, I don't really care. The halvening's coming up. BlackRock's going hard. The ETFs are eating. Not that this is financial advice. This is art advice. But like the supply crunch is coming. The miners are about to lose it all. And not lose it all. They're about to go to 50% production. And the one thing that's really feeding these miners right now is the grayscale outflow. Grayscale in particular is sitting, man, when they started, I think they had 450-ish thousand spot whole Bitcoins in their treasury that they've been offloading. There's not many things in the world that can dump like $0.3 billion all day, every day, but they do. And it's, dear Lord, Barry's got a giant bag of powder. He really does. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But the one thing I wanted to show you guys, and I thought I had it added up in the charts, but I don't. So give me 1 second because I gotta grab this screen cap. Here we go. So this, I didn't really find the data of what is a projection of what Barry goes to zero. So there's a few things here that I want to talk about. I take that back. He started out with over 600,000 Bitcoin. So this chart here, I made it in Excel. It has some very, very, very gross assumptions in it. So know that going into this. Let's go through what we do know. Grayscale's been net outflowing since the start of this ETF release and approval. They started out with a little over 600,000 spot Bitcoin. and it's dumping. You have the highest fee structure out of all these ETFs. So all the people that were in GBTC, they want to get over to the lower fee IBIT, lower fee Fidelity, all the other ones, right? They want out. Or they just went out of crypto altogether. We're back at the all-time high, and they're not even transferring over to the other ones. They're just getting their cash back, and they're out. That's fine. But the miners offload 900 Bitcoin a day. This dude's offloading $300 billion worth of Bitcoin every day. And it's going to go to a point someday, one day, Grayscale is not going to be an outflow anymore. It's going to be an inflow. Or just go flat. It's one of the two, right? But if we make the assumption Barry's going to bleed dry, and I have to make that assumption because somewhere along here, 100,000 Bitcoin, 200,000, 300,000, maybe it's 50,000 Bitcoin. We don't know. There's a point where there's no more sellers left in BlackRock. I'm sorry, in Grayscale. I don't know where that is. No one does. Even if you put all the holders in a room, they can't really tell you when that is at the end of the year. But what we do know is if they do go to zero, they can't dump anymore. It's just, that's the wall. It's a gross projection. It's a gross assumption. But I have to assume if I bleed Barry to zero, how long does that take? Because I can actually calculate that. So you'll notice that this line is moving up and down, wiggling. This is based off these flows. I went back and took every single day that Grayscale has sold to the market since the approval. And once we hit this last date, I haven't updated it this week. I think I did it Monday, actually. Once we hit this date, the line turned straight. And what this line is I took the average of every single day of the outflow and came up with a daily outflow number, and then I projected it until it hit zero. And right now, assuming Grayscale keeps offloading at the same rate, and we know they won't. That's another assumption. They're not, when they're down to like very few Bitcoin, they're not going to offload 300 billion a day because there's just not that many sellers left percentage wise. But assuming they did, assuming we go to zero, walking into this knowing that it's a gross assumption, I can at least ballpark. If we keep bleeding, he's done by June, end of June, July. Likelihood is somewhere along the way, like 200,000, 100,000 or something like that. He's going to run out of sellers, and it'll start inflowing. Especially if they drop the price of the fees, which they're talking about doing now, and saying it's coming. So somewhere along the lines, and it could go past this, it could be before this, I don't really know, but just so I can kind of ballpark it, I've got the halvening coming up in less than a month. I've got Barry potentially bleeding out sometime at the end of July. So it's really, 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 really likely Grayscale doesn't have powder to burn by like Q3 of 2024, Q3, Q4. And in the halvening cycle, this is kind of what we're looking at. I think I need to move this because I did the calculations, but we'll just call it like July. Grayscale is going to run out of powder after the halvening. And right now, Grayscale's offloading like 10 times what the miners are doing now. Post halvening, that's going to be like 20 times what the miners are dumping, right? So you want to talk about like a halvening having an effect on the market in which number go up? This is like 20 times that. Once he's bled out, and he is going to bleed out at some point, it's going to happen, and it's probably this year. And no one's really talking about that on Twitter, so that's why I actually kind of dropped it in an Excel sheet and just started calculating it, knowing I'm wrong. I know these assumptions are wrong. Like 418, 419, 420, halvening's happening. Like that's real close, easy to calculate. This thing's going to wiggle, but I know it's not coming tomorrow. I know it's not coming next month, but once we start getting towards the end of the July to the end of the year, somewhere in here, I think he's going to go dry. And if you can turn Barry green, not an offloader, this is going to get nuts. There's just no supply. Frankly, I don't know where the North American exchanges are going to get the supply from. I really, really don't. And people ask what happens when they can't do supply. Price is going to start depegging. And is it going to be healthy? We've we have seen depegs on altcoins before. A really, really good example of that was Say depegged on Coinbase when they had a hiccup with their deposits. So the market makers couldn't arbitrage it anymore, and price instantly went up 25%. Instantly, within an hour or two. Very, very fast. The point being is you want to talk about like your super cycle setup. You're coming into a point where there is a super cycle supply potentially squeeze on the actual exchanges. We don't even have options yet on this, but that is coming too and could even make it worse. So keep that in mind. And that's why you kind of see me not posting as much Twitter charts as normal. I'm not really interested in scalp trading. I've pretty much been trying to pack my bags for the past 6 months, is knowing this is like my last window of opportunity to pack bags. And that's where I'm at. We printed new all-time highs. We've had the highest daily closes of all time. The halving's coming up in less than a month. I mean, you can hit me with a 30% pullback from this all-time high and take me to like 50,000. I'm just going to buy more. And that's coming from a Rainbow Panda Cal guy who talks about whales. Just keep that in mind. But I'm not going to get shaken out by this. I'm not going to be leveraging these meme tokens on Solana. Shout out if you've been killing it on those. It's just not for me. But the thing is here is BlackRock's here. The institutions are here. And they're pushing. And frankly, the BlackRock flows and the Fidelity, all these different flows, man, they're like 30 times stronger than what all the quote-unquote experts said. So pretty much the monthly projections we've been doing in a day. Now these numbers are starting to slow down a bit this week, especially since we've done the all-time high, and I just refreshed it to get stuff. Also, if you guys don't know, Farside is the website that I use for this. This is an actual bot. So shout out to the Farside guys. This pulls the data through the APIs automatically. So if you sit here and refresh it, it'll tell you this data as soon as it came in. And Fidelity just came in really, really weak. 2.9 million. That's not good. Fidelity's seen days where they've done 300 million. But we'll see what BlackRock does. BlackRock's a pretty heavy hitter. And on speaking of BlackRock, there were some shots fired this week. And I hope you guys noticed it. BlackRock, in addition to them applying for an Ethereum ETF, BlackRock also launched a digital asset fund and deposited $100 million to get their wallet started on the Ethereum network. $100 million. So this lot of debate about Ethereum. Is it an ass? Is it a security? A commodity? Da, 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 da. Is it going to get the approval? Blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You can speculate all you want. You're not going to know what's going to happen until Gensler says yay or nay. And that also depends if he's enacted two-factor authentication to this government Twitter account. So shout out to those buffoons. But BlackRock is going for the Ethereum ETF. BlackRock also deployed a separate asset on the Ethereum network for digital assets fund. Basically, I think this is don't shoot me on this, ISO, if I'm getting this wrong, but I believe this is for the real world asset stuff that they're doing this for. Fink wants to tokenize everything, which is awesome, and they're pushing Ethereum. And lo and behold, the day after this was announced, SEC waging campaign to classify Ethereum as a security. From source Fortune magazine. So, furthering that, the Ethereum Foundation was also subpoenaed for the very first time in history. ETF rejection inevitable? We don't know. But I do know it's coming at the end of May. May 23rd, I believe, is the date. It's posted up on the website or the Discord and the alerts. The time frame for the approval of the ETFs. All the Ethereum ETFs, the final date where they can't kick it out anymore is like May 23rd. So, shout out timeline again. Halvening, end of April. Ethereum ETF approval or rejection sometime in May, the month after the halvening, and then we start bleeding Grayscale to nothing and make Barry cry. That's where we're going, and that's a really interesting place. You want to talk about like super cycle number 2? You can hate Ethereum all you want. It's the number 2 crypto asset in the world. It's a big market cap, and it would be a very big deal if they get an ETF approval. If these type of flows hit Ethereum, it's going to get gnarly. And also remember, Ethereum's currently a deflationary asset, and it's been a deflationary asset since the 2.0 conversion, right? So keep that in mind, and also keep in mind the argument that Ethereum is a security now is based off the proof of stake, proof of work. I'm not going to get into that. You can go shout at Charles Hoskins for his updates. But the other cool thing, I'll put this in the chat. If you want to actually see what BlackRock's doing, that's the Ethereum address for them. And no, if BlackRock did not buy 96 different types of tokens. So I kind of wanted to show you this. You see all these transactions? This isn't really BlackRock. BlackRock put 100 million USDC into this Ethereum wallet. And then people figured out which wallet was theirs because they announced it was 100 million, and then they saw the transfer of the USDC. And then they started putting people started depositing different parts, different type of cryptos to the Ethereum address, ERC20 tokens and stuff that's compatible with it. So like DETF, RIO, USH, MOG, Voldemort, whatever this is. I don't even know. These are just scam stuff. But just keep in mind, if you come in here and you look at their actual Ethereum wallet and you see like, oh my God, BlackRock's going to go hard on Rio network. It's people do this because they know you're looking at their exchange. And they're getting hit really, really hard. So keep that in mind, but it's kind of cool. You can actually see what they're doing. And it's on chain, so you can't really argue with it. But let me close that out. Oh, the other thing. I'm covering so much stuff other than TA, so shout out for you guys hanging with me. Laura Shin hit Kyle Davies hard. And you know my position. I don't like scammers at all. This goes back to FTX. This goes back to 3 Arrows Capital. This goes back to Luna. If you willingly took down investors' funds, that's on you. It really is. If you made a mistake, not knowing it, that's one thing. But these are guys that willingly risked people's money, and they shouldn't have. And it's just blatant truth of it. And this is one of those guys. And out of all of them, I think 3 Arrows Capital is probably one of the mildest ones. But in my opinion, that's cool if they want to hang out in the crypto community. But like, these dudes should never been able to touch a fund again, in my opinion. They're running from the law technically. And Kyle took an interview this week thinking that he was going to get a nice interview on stream. And I wanted to share this because Laura has no chill and really put Kyle in his place, and well deserved, because I don't think a lot of people would have had the balls to do this. But if I ever landed an SBF interview, this would be along the lines of how it would go. But I wanted to play this real quick if you guys want to listen.
Today's guest is Kyle Davies, advisor to Oxfund and co-founder of the now bankrupt 3 Arrows Capital. Welcome, Kyle.
Hey, Laura. Thanks for having me on.
Your crypto hedge fund, 3 Arrows Capital, collapsed in June 2022. And you haven't been cooperative with Teneo, which is in charge of liquidating 3AC's assets. You then launched and closed a crypto bankruptcy claims exchange, OpenX. You launched 3AC Ventures, which now appears to be defunct, or at least has a non-working website. And recently you became the advisor to Oxfund. When I asked on X what I should ask you, a large number of people expressed dislike of you or disapproval with how you've conducted yourself since the collapse of 3AC. So why do you continue to try to work in crypto?
I mean, Laura, you had some loaded intro there, right? Do you think we should address some?
Today's guest is Kyle.
So shout out Laura. That's kind of my spirit animal now. I know a lot of people want like FTX redemptions and 3 Arrows Capital. I'm against that, clearly. But that was awesome. He's been living in a non-extraditable country. He's been not cooperating with the personnel who are responsible for offloading or trying to deal with the bankruptcy at all and try to recover funds. So if you screw up, don't own it, right? You took the CEO spot. That's you. So anyway, this was the other thing. Kyle himself replied back to this Daily News article that he was grinning, saying, I wasn't grinning. I just have big teeth. But this is what really ticked me off in addition to this. But I will never apologize for blowing up. We were traders who devoutly believed in up only forever. Still do. Lenders chose to gamble their own low-risk client funds on high-risk thesis. Pointing fingers is for cowards. Not having an exit strategy and taking it is for cowards, in my opinion. You blow up, you don't blow it up to zero and leave people hanging. You take your risk and you get out. That's my opinion of it. I don't like it. But anyway, that's the Bitcoin chart. That's the Bitcoin news. That's the Panda news. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum has not had a very nice pullback. If you go back and look at some of my charts and posts, I got a lot of flack for this setup. This is frankly the old setup we had from like 2017. And essentially, we had a Bart Simpson play out that flipped bullish and went into a channel walker setup. And if you're new to don't understand what I'm saying, you have to realize a lot of the rainbow theory stuff is this was all developed in a bubble in 2017, and I kind of ran out of terms from like the Wyckoff dictionary stuff, so I just started making stuff up as I chased whales and learned coding. But let me show you this real quick so I can explain it, because we covered this on the last stream too, but I don't think people covered it too well. Shout out Josh, we love your settings. They're the best. Don't tell 9K. So we had a channel walk, and when there's a channel walk going on, the whales have very, very tight control, and they range bound it at an angle, and they move it up and up and up and up. There's a bunch of examples for these, and the rainbow traders trade these a lot, and we caught the Apple spike drop off when the previous all-time high hit and it bled out. And we did some really cool trades with that in the Discord, especially the option degen heads. And we caught one on Ethereum. Ethereum was doing a channel walk, and you have to realize I'm a very, very big Ethereum supporter. It's probably my second largest bag, and been a big fan of it for a very long time. But the point is when you see a channel walk, nature doesn't naturally do range-bound moves like this in an upward direction. It takes a really, really big whale to support this type of a move, frankly. And that's just the way whales trade. But it's not sustainable. And on the last stream, if you want to go back and watch it, we drew this out. What would happen if they sustained this channel till the end of the year? At the end of the year, Ethereum was going to be like $180,000 if they kept this angle. And that's just not possible, realistically. I mean, that's on the level of people calling for like $1,000 Ripple. There's just not enough cash and capital to pull that off, especially in this time frame. You want to talk like maybe 50 years from now when we're all dead? Sure. But this year, no. So what we were calling for was a bleed out. And once we drift up and out of the channel, we look for a bleed out. And that's where we're at right now. And this is kind of the fractal. And I'm not a fractal trader. Fractals are always kind of like a hindsight thing, but I look for rhymes to the reason, because history doesn't repeat, but it does sure rhyme. And we got the channel break and it broke. But my view on this is I don't think Bitcoin's going to go down to like 30,000. I think we might have a slight pullback, but I'm really bullish on the halving as well as the other stuff that I've been covering. And the one thing I do know, if Bitcoin just goes up, Ethereum's not just going to do this. Ethereum is going to follow Bitcoin eventually. Now, it's been real laggy lately this year, but this previous run's been pretty awesome, especially with the BlackRock news. So there's that. So I don't think we're going to follow this fractal. And we got an H4 runnerbot bottom print. I don't get these a lot, H4 bottoms, so I'm really, really keen on these when they print, because I don't see them very often and they hit pretty hard. Frankly, the last bottom print we got here was at $2,200 and it went up to $4,100. So I got one here on the bleed out. So I think this is actually support to where we could argue this is going to be a potential bottom here. Regardless, this type of channel walk, we have to pump the brakes and consolidate or bleed out. Like there's no way around it. There's just not enough capital to do this. Maybe I'm wrong and BlackRock just comes in and bought and turns Ethereum into a $5 trillion asset by the end of the year. I don't know. Even then, I don't think it's going to send Ethereum to 100,000 plus. So we just got to be cautious. And it's not that I'm bearish Ethereum. It's just I get cautious and skittish of tops printing when I know they're not sustainable. I mean, that's the whole kind of basis of whale theory. You measure whales with colors. And I know whales can't hold those colors for that long forever. If you want to sit here and do this till the end of the year, a lower slope with weaker colors, I got you. We can do that. We can do that all day, every day. That's the wrong version. Let me kill that. You can see they were riding the machine, the reversion bands on that one too, not the machine learning ones. But anyway, I digress. That's my thoughts on Ethereum. And where I am with the market. I'm Bitcoin is going to do its thing. If you guys want to mess around with like scalp trading other stuff, especially like Solana, random low caps, that's the G-Gen thing to do, and go for it. But it's just not my cup of tea. With that being said, no one noticed this, but shout out Coinbase. Coinbase Derivatives LLC quietly filed certifications with the CFTC to list U.S. regulated futures on Doge, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. So shout out Roger Ver, the guy who single-handedly tried to kill Bitcoin for his entire career in crypto. They're going to be offering institutional leverage at Coinbase on your coin. And Bcash is over $400, so that's fun. But anyway, I digress. I don't like Bcash a lot. I'm not crazy about Litecoin. I will say this, though. It's pretty consistent, and even here you can see this is a BART play into the reversion bands with pink candles with white RSIs. That's the hottest RSI. That's the hottest candle colors. That's a runner bot top call and a color rotation. Plus, we actually hit the machine learning reversion bands, which are almost impossible to hit. So when you get all these things together, it's major, major, major confluence. If you guys go watch the Discord, the Rainbow Traders who trade these, especially if you actually follow Pixa trades the living hell out of these. He hunts down altcoins on these cyan bands. And if you don't know, these are machine learning bands that actually learn the coin over time and study the previous history of the moves. And they move in adjustments with the actual coin itself. So if you'll notice, like, if I go look at like SHIB is a very, very volatile thing. My phone is blowing up. Let me make sure this isn't something super important. I apologize. Also, I hear a giant thunderstorm outside. So if I lose you guys, I'm very, 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 very sorry. Hold on. Let me see something. Hold on. The different headset voice. Oh, we're good. I'll come back to that. Thanks, Stop. But anyway, as you can see here, that's SHIB. Super, super, super volatile asset. Tagged the reversion bands, pulled back. Every time you see the reversion band, that's the algorithm with the machine learning telling you this is the never been done before territory. So if you can actually hit the never been done before territory, high odds. Very, very high odds. You're going to bounce out of that. It's the king of my take profit setups. White RSI prints, which are these X's. You get the pink candles. You touch that. If you want to add some little Blake, one of our OGs, Blake, if you want to add some of his confluence, throw the HMA on. That's the HMA. You can usually get the HMA to cross on the lower time frames, and it's really, really good. Yeah. Remove drawings. Let me pull the channel walker off. I really like the HMA because it kind of karate chops when the trend dies, is kind of how I explain it. On the tops, it'll just slice through. You get a top signal as well from the bot. That's top. Now, it's not to say it can't cool off and come back up and hit again, but it's definitely a risk-off area for sure, or at least a partial profits. You don't want to go all in, all out, right? But it's the same thing. We're going to preach limit orders, but you know we're going to be smashing market buys. It's the same thing kind of here. This is a less extreme version, but I'm just going to do some tutorials too, since there's a lot of you guys on. You can see white candles. That's our strongest color for the bears. If I actually go back to the indicator page, This is the color key. It's 4 versions of bull colors and 4 versions of bear colors. And it's kind of like what I talk about, like the measuring the whale strength. Whales can hit white candles, but they can't sustain them. They can sustain the weaker reds and oranges for a very, very, very long time. But when they're burning up these top colors or these very, very bottom colors, they can't hold it. And they have to pump the brakes and hand it over to the other team. So it's kind of a yin and yang thing between the bulls and the bears. And even here you can see it. That's the white candle bleeding out into the reversion bands, a bottom print, strong RSI. Bears ran out of steam. They gave it up to the bulls, and the bulls ended up shooting it to the other side. So you actually saw white candles here and pink candles here, and this is just kind of the reaction. Because otherwise, what whales would do, Bitcoin would go hit $10 and $1 million all day, every day, and that's just what they would do, and that's just the truth. But they can't do that. They don't have infinite power. They don't have infinite gas. Think of it like a car. You can cruise Prius really, 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 really long time. But if you slam the throttle and hold it down, you're going to burn your gas tank really, really fast. And that's what this kind of stuff, that's what this kind of stuff is here. You can see these weaker colors, they can sustain that for a long time. But when they want to blow the lights out, they can't do it forever. And then it keeps going up. So that's kind of some Rainbow Theory like 101, since we got some new people here today. I'm going to go back to some of my basics. Hold on, let me get, this is my split volume, need to get that back. And another thing I did want to talk about, the AI tokens this month have done really, really, really good. NVIDIA had their press conference this week, and part of that press conference was actually having crypto projects there and talking about it. And if you don't know, NVIDIA is apparently the greatest asset ever. And this is just kind of the high-level H4 profile, and you can see the pivots and all of our different tools running on it. But let me pull the HMA off because it gets a little messy. But right here this week, they had the conference, and they unleashed their new tech, their new tools, their ungodly Blackwell processors. But one of the cool things was they actually had Render come in and talk. And Render has been one of the tokens that we've been talking about for a very, very long time. Shout out to Freeman in the Discord. He bought this dip, and he basically made a 70% spot trade, I think, is what he got out of that. It's one of the nastiest like white candle buys I've ever seen. And again, shout out to the Moonshot dudes who hang out in our Discord, because I was in a meeting in the shop and on an engineering thing, and then all hell broke loose while I was working in the shop. And then I come back to my Discord, and everybody bought the dip at 9K. 9K came in and told everybody, hey, Deathwick, buy. And this was a hell of a buy, because I mean, just if you're patient enough, it's really, really good. That's all I can say. You don't often get that type of setup, but either way, this is the warning we had in the Discord. It was like, hey, that conference is coming up right here, and this might be a very, very, very opportune time to take some profit. And the reason being was we weren't really sure if like NVIDIA, like the rumors were like NVIDIA is going to come out and announce that they've teamed up with Render and da-da-da-da. They're speaking there. It's got to be ace in the hole. We don't know, but it was a really nice opportunity. And now I'm talking about it in hindsight, but it's pulled back like 20% since then. But I'm still bullish on AI tokens. I think that's a really cool narrative. I'm also apparently bullish pandas now, but I've always been bullish on them. I'm just a little more bullish now because I finally have a panda that matches my personality. So shout out to Seth again, because that was a hard one to nail. But anyway, yeah, basically, Mim, if you wanna buy pain, it goes back to like the opposite theory. The whales want to shake you out because there's not enough supply. And if you can see, white candles here, white candle here, it's the bottom, but man, you have to have the stones to buy it. You really, really do. And that's just kind of like how Rainbow Theory works. When you start ranging up and down between the bulls and the bears, these colors matter. I know it looks like not appetizing, but if you're trying to trade like red and green stuff, it's really hard to know this is a strong topped out move. But if I go and layer in the colors, at a glance, you can tell, hey, this is hot, 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 hot. And The bulls are weakening and rotating out of a move. They're building up into the strongest colors that they can't sustain anymore. These pinks. There's little descriptions here. And then they rotate out of it and they take their foot off the gas and they hand it to the bears. The bears get a taste and then it goes back. It's just how it works. At all times you've got people trying to liquidate each other, and these are big dudes who are more sophisticated than you would believe. So, oh yeah, does it fail sometimes? For sure. Let me show you Luna. Buying white, you can't do it blind. You definitely can't. Everything can get you. There is the Luna print. This was, I believe, a 99% down draw. So you have to be careful. And it also depends on like the asset that you're trading. But like this is a gross example. Not Rainbow Trends. Like TradingView is calculating it as 100% loss. Like there's not even decibels to do this. But in general, you're not going to see stuff blow out on the higher caps like you will these lower cap coins, especially if there's like fraud involved. That's what all that is, and that's what all these red triangles are showing you, are well prints getting the hell out of Dodge. But like a really, really good example of this, I tell people, because they want to know like, hey, what's the secret sauce, the secret settings? The truth is, find your whales that you like and find their colors. There's some people that trade Zcash really, really, really well. It's an awful asset probably. I trade it all the time when it's doing the right setups, because Zcash whales do the same paint every single time. So we can talk awful about Zcash, we can talk awful about Litecoin, Cardano, whatever. You get your right paint setups with the whales that you like to follow, you're at an advantage to the rest of the market, and it's less gambling at that point. It's more on you killing it. So what I wanted to, this is a good example, and I hate to rag on Litecoin. I don't really, but the point is Litecoin is one of the oldest crypto projects of all time. It's one of the most boring whales of all time. They scream at volatility. They don't like volatility. They don't like big moves. They don't blow out these reversion bands. They don't print white candles way, way deep into here and then pop back, right? These are your machine learning ones. Look how tight they are to this. So this is like the entire history of H4 Litecoin. And then on the opposite side of the machine learning band. So if you don't know, the green and the red are the standard reversion bands, and then the blue and the orange are the machine learning ones that learn the asset over time. And frankly, I lost a lot of brain cells actually coding that. That physically hurt. But we have machine learning working on TradingView, and I'm probably not going to touch it again because it's really hard to make a code learn. But anyway, the point is, and I'm just digressing here, Litecoin whales, so that makes sense, right? Litecoin whales are old school. They're stubborn. It's a crypto that has very, very little volatility. Rarely, ever, ever, ever will you see Litecoin do a double-digit % day, right? Now, think in your head, what's a Litecoin whale move like? Well, let's also look at a SHIB whale or a Doge. Let's look at Doge. A Doge whale. Doge whales are violent. Doge whales are degen. Doge whales leverage and don't give a F. They go crazy, right? So can you see the difference of like Litecoin and Doge trading in the same market conditions? These are way bigger moves. These are way more violent paint. And look, we don't even see the reversion band. Look how high this thing is. It's because this tool knows, hey, I went back and studied the data in the entire timeline of Doge. These are some violent dudes. You look at Litecoin, it's way back down here because the tools know it's not a violent dude. And that's just know your whales, figure out the paint, and you can adjust accordingly. So like when you say like, oh, does it always work to buy whites or does it always work to sell pinks? No, but you can see Litecoin can't really sustain a pink move. It's just not the way the whales trade Litecoin. But Doge whales can sustain. They're more degen. It's just how it goes. Also, you're at 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 the mercy of also kind of like Elon, because Elon likes this one, so it's really, really reactive. You're not going to see a random Elon start randomly tweeting about like Litecoin or Cardano and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of how I try to explain it to people, is take a Litecoin whale chart, apply rainbow theory to it. Hold on one second, guys. My daughter just woke up. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry, I kept her up. I'm being a bit loud. I'm gonna lower the volume just a little bit. Hope you guys can still hear me, but we got the cool filters on, so it should work. But anyway, that's my point, is colors and whales and stuff like that. And it sounds crazy when you first talk about it, but like, if you want to try to figure out at a glance where these whales are at, you know, that's where it is. And in general, like, I don't long pinks ever as a rule. This is FOMO territory. This is when the whales bait you in and they get you to try to buy an asset that's way, way overbought. They want to rip your hands out of it. They want to make you capitulate. That's just the nature of how they do it. Because nobody wanted Doge at 7 cents. They didn't. Now that Doge is up at like 15 cents, people really, really want it. And it's already up 150%. So caveat to that is even if you got like a little bit of profit, there's headroom here for this to bleed out and it can destroy you. Because you got to remember, it's like you can have 10,000% up and kill it all year, but it's only a single 100% drawdown to get you back to zero and like you're penniless. So keep in mind, especially with like the market conditions we're in, like we're going into the halving, we're going into the big raging bull market. Like that's really, you don't want to get liquidated. So just know you're playing with fire when you play with fire. But speaking of Elon, this was another thing I wanted to show you guys. You know how they've like had the brain implant and they announced that they installed it on a human, and then we really haven't seen anything except like the live demo of the pigs. I had to show you guys this because this is crazy. This is I'll just let the video play. I wanted to share. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but I had to share this. It's not crypto related, but it's cool.
Hello world, how's it going out there? My name is Bliss, and I'm an engineer at Neuralink. And I'd like to introduce you to the first ever user of the Neuralink device. And I think you're my only telekinetic friend that I have.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, not many more of those out there. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Nolan Arbaugh. I'm 29 years old. About 8 years ago, I was in kind of a freak diving accident and dislocated my C4, C5. So I'm a complete quadriplegic. So I'm paralyzed from below the shoulders. I have no sensation or movement below my level of injury, so below my shoulders. Yeah, that about covers it, right?
Do you want to introduce some of your dogs here? Let me flip
Yeah,
the camera so you guys
absolutely.
can see. You got dogs all over the place.
Yeah, that's Montana. The one walking by is Grace. Gracie.
Gracie, come here.
Hi, Grace.
How's it going, Gracie? Yeah. You can see what Nolan's been
I'm going
doing.
to fast forward it a little bit.
Years, especially not like this.
Actually, can you pause the song?
So this is him
audio
controlling the
viewer?
computer with his mind.
And that was also done with your brain.
Yep. It's all
It's totally not crypto related unless they somehow integrate
Can you
this
explain
into
a little
like
bit just to people who maybe
Kraken, but
don't have any context on this field or what's going on here? How are you able to actually move
this was so
closer?
cool.
Yeah, so we started out with trying out a few different things. We basically went from what we call kind of differentiating like imagined movement versus attempted movement. So a lot of what we started out with was attempting to move. So I would attempt to move, say, my right hand, left, right, forward, back to move. And from there, I think it just became intuitive for me to start imagining the cursor moving.
So I'm going to stop it there, but like definitely go check out the link if you haven't. I'll drop it in the chat. I talk about coding and machine learning and how it whooped my butt. These dudes literally coded a guy's brain to move a mouse cursor so he can play chess. I don't know what, like, it's awesome. Awesome. I've got some friends who are paralyzed, and if they ever get to the point of being able to get those dudes to walk again, I'm all for it. But anyway, let's do a quick scan of the charts. We're actually hitting like 200 something concurrent viewers right now. This is crazy. Make sure you follow. Leave a dislike in the YouTube, please. Shout us down. Don't tell your friends. We want to keep this group small. So if you don't know me, I put all the tokens in an exchange on my list. So this is just about every Coinbase token imaginable. And that way I can sort by the percent change, and I can see what's bleeding, and I can see what's doing well. It's a bit tedious, but it's kind of cool, and it resets every day. This is the daily move for TradingView. I don't think they really explain that in the literature, but that's what it is. So I just want to see, now that we're into the next daily, see what Asia's picking up at this time, because it doesn't seem to be too many big movements. And I do need to check Farside and see if BlackRock came in yet. That's always the one that people wait on. So BlackRock's not in yet. Everyone else is. Right now we're at a negative 327 million. A lot of the market waits till BlackRock comes in and then it wakes up. But you're going to see smaller cap coins move a lot. Like one of the big movers this week was like Jasmy. It doesn't look like a lot on 4 hour, but like on 1 hour it was pretty impressive. This is like 30% move. Shout out to the Jasmy Wells and Playmaker in the Discord, because that's always been his jewel. And I think I still have a small bag. During the capitulation candle, I longed here, but Coinbase went down at the time, so it was a bit of a mess. I actually ended up with coins that are not in the transaction history. Shout out to Coinbase server techs. You guys are doing really, really good. Yeah, I don't really see anything sticking out here, but I did want to check it. Likewise, if you guys in the chat have something in particular you want me to take a look at, we can take a look at it. Yeah, Optimism was another one I wanted to do. I did want to see. That's not it. Is that it? No. Is it OP? Yeah, Optimism. I want to say this just because of Base. Base is really, really picking up, especially like the DJing group chats that I'm in. They're all about building on Base. So Optimism is one of the building chains of that. That's actually pretty decent buy. XLM, we can check a look at XLM. Of course, from Twitch. XLM's old school too. I'm gonna go to higher time frame for this. It's still in a range. It still really hasn't woken up and broken out. There's still a lot of alts like this as XRP, yeah. A lot of so we've got alts that are still like in the multi-year accumulation. Some of them, like a good example is like Aave. It took forever for Aave to wake up out of this. This was like 2 years, whatever, 18 months, I don't know. But it's the exact same as the Link chart, and that's why I bring it up. Is this was the Link chart before Link went all the way up like 100+%. I started longing it here, and I was wrong. I was a month early, but now we're up and moving. So hopefully this continues, because we're above the major order block here, and we want to see that continue to move up. So anyway, what's up, Trash Panda? Let me go back and look at XLM. I haven't looked at the XRP chart. I guess I will. I'm not a real big XRP guy. Just the way they dilute the tokens so much, and it's very manipulated by one big asset holder. So keep that in mind. But let me take a look at XRP. I will say this though. This is another part that I'm like bullish on Ethereum taking on the SEC. XRP whooped their butts, so I'm very, very confident the Ethereum Foundation is going to take it to Gensler pretty hard and pretty well against him. Wow, I didn't know that either from Mt. Gox. That's crazy. I don't really trade it, to be honest. XLM kind of moves weird to me. The colors wake up and disappear really, really differently. So it's not as consistent as I would like it to be. But this is the XRP chart. Man, what a breakout here. That's a hell of a bar. I believe that was a news event though. That was I think the court case update. But shoot, that's July of 23. It's been ranging since then. So that's all it's been doing since 2023. The thing is though, is like you don't need to be like against the grain in this type of the market, this timing of the market. you can like study the hell out of this and try to do like some really, really interesting TA and stuff. Or you could just be like, hey, AI tokens are pumping. And maybe it's easier for me just to like get in AI bandwagons because there's big narratives that are printing right now. That Sol was another one. So we're not ranging for multiple years. There's tokens that are definitely on upward trajectories that have already broken out. So, because you'll want to start like everyone's saying this. I think I got this set up and it'll bounce. And da da da. Sometimes it's good to just like, hey, numbers going up on this stuff. I'm gonna go chase the outperformers. So, Hut 8. Oh, it's definitely alt season. The old roadmaps are not the same, Vanity. AVAX is up like 200%. Sol is almost to all-time high. It's not the all-time high order, almost to the all-time high order block. And meme seasons everywhere. Just because like Doge hasn't woken up. I mean, it's a little bit of both, but it's just the rotations that people are expecting they're dead. Those roadmaps are dead. We're not going Bitcoin, Ethereum, mid cap, low cap, all shit coins anymore. Now it's whatever. I mean, frankly, we onboarded TradeFi money, BlackRock, and all them, and then we went straight to meme coins on Solana, and we started doing cartoons of political characters and dogs with hats. So, shout out to really onboarding the guys who just got approval, but another example is WIF. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not about to short a meme token because they rage so hard. But at the same time, like, we could watch. This is the hourly. This isn't even the daily. We could have watched XRP go sideways and try to like beat ourselves alive trying to trade that in XLM, or like, hey, this is kind of going crazy. There's not enough candles for this for the machine learning. I have to have enough data for the machine learning to find itself. Let me try 30 minutes. Will it work? No. Try 15 minutes. It'll give me more data. No, not enough yet. Dang it. Oh well. But anyway. CFX, we can look at CFX. That's Conflux, isn't it? Olafin. We go back to 4 hour. You see we have the data to do these. Holy crap. That's awesome. It's not a channel walker, but there's definitely where's the tool for this? Hold on. It's really storming where I live, so if everything dies out, you know why. So you've got a curve here that's obviously being chased by the whales. Eventually, this is not going to hold and sustain. But I don't know where that's going to be on conflicts. You can see how violent it is with the machine learning band up there. So eventually this will break out and it'll cool off and you'll have to chill. You need to chill out for that because your first real order blocks and stuff are like back down. Where's my drawing tool? It's back down here. Like this is where your stacked pivots are. So it's going to be like 26 cents when you're at 42. You don't want to eat that. So be really, really careful. It's like chase it while it's good, but like when it's time to bail and go look at other charts. So anyway. So can you check out Hut 8 crypto miner? I don't know Hut 8. Is that really a ticker? No, Hut 8 doesn't look unless it's Hut. Oh, there you go. It's Hut. I'm not really big on miner tokens, but I will say one of my OGs of Rainbow stuff is talking miner tokens. And when Doppel is talking about stuff or quote unquote thinking about it, I pay a lot of attention. So he's talking about this because coins like all-time highs and these miners are bleeding. But frankly, I'm still watching the miners to see what they're doing. This is the shout out Y charts. If you guys want to see this, I'll post it in the chat real quick. But this is the hash rate network. So what we don't want to see is a fall off on the hash rate, because if the hash rate dies off going into the halvening, it basically means a bunch of the miners did not make it through the halvening and they died. and capitulated and shut their servers off, because if it essentially is, once we go past the halving date, there's a lot of hardware that's not going to be profitable anymore. It'll make like 1 Bitcoin and burn up like 2 Bitcoins worth of energy. So it's, you lose money running it, and that's going to come into effect. So a lot of these guys struggle. With that being said, man, this is June 2022 here, but it's violent, dude. When it runs up, it hits the top band typically, but you could be chilling here for like 8 months. I'm not a miner. Like, my engineering background, if I had enough money to buy the mining stock, I'm just going to buy the mining hardware personally myself. That's just where I'm at with it. Anyway, yeah, flashbanged. I apologize. Light mode is a sin. So you should feel bad, 9K. I said it live. But anyway, yeah, let me check something real quick. The other one was, I did want to check Toyota, because Toyota broke out. Toyota's still singing. If you don't know, I'm a very, very, very big Toyota fan. Whether that's Tundras, Supras, you name it. Still trucking. We broke this all-time high order block of 203, and it's just been gone, and nobody's talking about it. Everybody wants to talk about NVIDIA, but Toyota's trucking, and so is Costco. This has been a crazy wedge that broke up and out. And freaking from the breakout in these order blocks here, Costco's up like 36%, which is a lot for TradeFi. Yeah, Reddit did not do good today, but I'm not really big on Reddit. That company has always struggled with profitability. And something that's always struggled to be profitable in general versus like their ad revenue. I don't know why you would take it public. Because I don't believe they have any tech products. It's just a social media thing. So I don't know. I don't want to touch this. I know it's somewhat crypto related because some of their profits go into crypto, alleged profits, but we'll see. We shall see. IPO, make money, I guess. Yeah. Diversify your risk. Going back and seeing if anything pumped. But anyway, that's what I've got for today, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you are new here, go hit us up in the Discord. It's always at the website, and I'll drop that in the link, the chat right here. Thanks for coming out. Thanks to the Panda crew. You guys rock. But we're going to go move over to the Discord and open up the roundtable discussion in the Discord. Hopefully some of our OGs will show up. And if you want to ask us open mic questions or show us a chart that you're looking at and want some input, or you want to ask anything, coding, gaming, whatever, we're down. But we'll see you guys next week, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll talk to you then.